我自愿加入中国共产党。
我自愿加入中国共产党。
拥护党的纲领。
拥护党的纲领。
遵守党的章程。
遵守党的章程。
履行党员义务。
履行党员义务。
Xi is in many ways what Trump falsely claims to be, a child of privilege who on purpose removed himself from that influence to build his own success. Why though? Because Mao's Cultural Revolution had left a deep mark on the man. Where others sought to regain powerful positions of the past, Xi believed that the Maoist critique of party cliques had a truth to it. The idea that an official could rise to power through family ties and that an almost hereditary system of governments in a communist state could establish itself was something Xi heavily disliked. Only those who proved themselves the most capable and loyal to the communist cause should be those to lead. In recent years, in many a place in urban China, statues of Marx and communist icons came down to be replaced with statues of Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Sun Tzu. Observers in the West interpreted this as a cultural shift away from revolutionary Marxist social doctrine, gradually shifting back to traditional values as a market liberalization took place. That those disenfranchised by Mao came back to have their revenge, but they couldn't have been further from the truth. Neither Confucius, Lao Tzu, or Sun Tzu were in any way free market pioneers, let alone paragons of democracy, but the founding philosophers of a social conservative Chinese imperial doctrine of the preservation of a status quo through social harmony. A harmony through obedience, authority, and knowing where your place in society is. Values and standards that the Chinese could not only identify with through a more historic identity, formed through a new nationalism that encourages its people to take pride in the nation's pre-communist past, but values that serve the desire of the Chinese state, a state whose priority is that in all policies harmony must always be preserved at home. Xi Jinping's bid for the Chinese presidency may have started by him conjuring up a self-image as a liberal reformer, but doubt of the sincerity behind that was soon confirmed after a Politburo document leaked to the public, a memo written by Xi outlining his policy doctrine to all members of the Politburo, known as Document Number 9. Its leaker, a dissident journalist, was sentenced to a lengthy prison sentence for leaking state secrets. The document is a list of what Xi considers to be the 7 biggest enemies of the Chinese state: constitutional democracy, universal values, individual rights, economic liberalism, free and independent journalism, the spreading of historic truths about Mao Zedong and communist crimes, and the critiquing of Chinese socialism. Xi's vision of China is one of a society in order and prosperity, obedient to its leadership. This is a country in which the public shamings of the Cultural Revolution are still alive, with exhibitions in town halls showing and shaming condemned people. A country in which posting the wrong thing on social media can get you not only a prison sentence, but to be publicly shamed on national television.
我本身就是一个喜欢炫耀，然后有爱慕虚荣的一个小女孩的性格。
This is a country in which the president is welcomed by the news staff like a boss or colleague rather than being questioned. This is a country with a surveillance system never before seen in human history in terms of how deep it can stare into the private lives of its citizens. And the economic growth blinded many to see through the growing profits to realize that the society behind it was still very much an authoritarian communist state. Modern China merely ascribes to a more pragmatic communism than other entities. It doesn't wish to end up like North Korea, so it engages in international organizations and diplomacy. It doesn't want to end up like the Soviet Union, so it partially liberalized its markets. But Xi's China also seeks to legitimize its regime by attempting to tie it to the larger history and story of China. A history it once shunned has been made vogue, and figures once denounced have been resurrected as nationalist heroes of an independent China. But most crucially to Xi and Xi's main mission and agenda is to rebuild the geopolitical power that this past empire once had. Key to that is a largely unknown politician, Xi's chief foreign policy advisor, Wang Huning, who formulated Xi's foreign policy doctrine of prosperity through authority, known as the Chinese Dream.